Season 2 of Paradise opens in a surprising way. Instead of following Xavier after he leaves the bunker to search for his wife, Episode 1 turns the clock back several decades. This choice isn't random. It tells us that Season 2 is not just about what happens next, but about why people become who they are when the world ends. The episode introduces us to Annie as a child visiting Graceland, the home of Elvis Presley. These visits are not about tourism. They are a ritual. Annie reports every small change to her sick mother, who can't be there herself. This already tells us something important. Annie is used to carrying emotional responsibility at a very young age. When Annie's mother dies in her sleep, Annie doesn't cry or scream. Instead, she shuts down emotionally and turns inward. This reaction defines her entire arc. Annie doesn't process grief by expressing it. She processes it by trying to fix things. That's why she decides to become a doctor. Her goal is simple and painful. She never wants to feel helpless again. But trauma doesn't disappear just because someone is smart or motivated. During med school, the memories resurface, and Annie has a panic attack. She drops out of med school after that. Having a panic attack was her body and mind refusing to move forward without healing. This is the first major theme of the episode. Unprocessed grief always finds a way back. After hitting rock bottom, Annie finds herself back at Graceland, crying in front of the very place tied to her childhood and her mother. Gail, a security guard, offers her kindness. This is important. Gail doesn't try to fix Annie. She simply gives her space and purpose by helping her become a tour guide. Graceland becomes more than a museum. It becomes a shelter, a memory vault, and later, a literal refuge from the apocalypse. Symbolically, Graceland represents preserved history. Elvis is gone, but his home remains untouched, frozen in time. That mirrors Annie's emotional state. She is alive, but part of her is stuck in the past. When the world collapses and the EMP shuts everything down, Annie doesn't panic. She gathers supplies, frees the horses, and takes Elvis's gun. These actions show that Annie has always been a caretaker. Even when she failed to save her mother, that instinct never left. Gail's injury and slow death forces Annie into the role she once ran from. She becomes a nurse, a doctor, and a companion. The falling temperatures and ash-filled sky reflects Annie's mental state. Gail's final words matter deeply. She tells Annie that both she and Annie's mother are proud of her. This is the emotional release Annie has been waiting for her entire life. It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives her permission to keep living. When the sun finally returns, Annie plants something green. This moment is quiet but powerful. The plant represents rebirth, second chances, and humanity's opportunity to do better. It also mirrors Annie herself. She has survived, but she is still fragile. This calm is broken when a group of men enters Graceland. Link and his group slowly reveal themselves as helpers rather than threats. Their mission to shut down nuclear plants reframes survival as responsibility, not domination. Link's injury allows Annie to step back into healing. She is no longer trying to save someone to fix her past. She is choosing to help in the present. Their connection isn't about desire. It is about shared loneliness. Love, in this episode, is shown as quiet and gentle. It is two people reminding each other that they are still human. When Link reveals the plan to reach the underground bunker in Colorado, the tone shifts. The bunker is no longer just a shelter. It is a symbol of control and power. Annie refuses to go, not because she is afraid of the world, but because she refuses to return to a system built on secrecy and violence. This decision mirrors Xavier's arc. Both characters choose the surface over false safety. After Link leaves, Annie discovers she is pregnant. This is not framed as shock or fear, but as continuation. Life is still moving forward, even when the world is broken. The final moment, where Annie finds Xavier after the plane crash, brings the episode full circle. Annie represents survival on the surface. Xavier represents escape from the bunker. Their meeting feels inevitable. Two people who are shaped by loss are now connected by hope. Episode 2 of Paradise shifts the focus back to Xavier. The episode uses a nonlinear structure. One timeline shows how Xavier met Teri in 2004. The other shows his struggle to survive after the plane crash. We first see Xavier in 2004 at the Secret Service Training Center. He has injured his knee badly and is recovering in a hospital dormitory. Even here, we see something important about his character. He complains and talks too much. Then we meet Teri. She throws her jello at him just to get him to stop talking. It's funny, but it also sets up their dynamic. Xavier is loud and emotional. Teri is focused and serious. She is dealing with congenital scoliosis and is studying cell, molecular, and organismal biology. She has a clear dream to work at the NIH. She doesn't want distractions, and she definitely doesn't want a relationship. This is important. Teri is someone who wants control over her life. She wants structure, purpose, and achievement. Xavier, at this point, represents chaos and unpredictability. But then something changes. After Teri's surgery, she suffers perioperative visual loss. She temporarily loses her eyesight. For someone whose future depends on research and precision, this is terrifying. In that darkness, Xavier becomes her anchor. He stays in the hospital even after being discharged. He talks to her, distracts her, and organizes her things even though she can't see them. This moment shows the real Xavier. Underneath the talking and complaining, he is loyal. When Teri regains her sight and sees him caring for her space, she understands something. He doesn't just like her, he loves her. The episode makes a clear parallel here. Teri once lived in darkness and needed Xavier. Now Xavier is the one lost in the dark, trying to find her. Back in the present, Xavier's plane crash isn't caused by simple mechanical failure. It is more complicated. He is flying through snow. He experiences a sudden headache and bleeds from his nose. He blacks out, and for a second, he sees what looks like a vision of Link. This moment is strange, and the show doesn't explain it fully. It could suggest some shared illness between Xavier and Link, a neurological condition caused by radiation, or something deeper that connects surface survivors in ways we don't yet understand. What matters right now is this: Xavier is not fully in control of his mind. In Season 1, Xavier was strong, strategic, and focused. In Season 2, he is injured, confused, and vulnerable. The world outside has stripped him of authority. The crash itself reinforces this idea. The plane gets stuck in a tree, and Xavier dislocates his already damaged knee. When he resets his knee, he screams and passes out. The only reason raiders don't find him is because a child times his scream with thunder. Daniel and the group of children introduce another key theme. What happens to childhood after the end of the world? These kids aren't innocent in the traditional sense. They are nomadic. They hide, steal, and are calculated. Xavier, who has 2 children of his own, struggles to read them. He understands training and strategy, but he doesn't fully understand what trauma has done to these kids. However, when he tells Daniel the story of James and the giant peach, Daniel falls asleep on his shoulder like a normal child. This is a quiet but powerful moment. It tells us that innocence is damaged, not erased. The world may have changed them, but some parts of them are still human. When a raider attacks, Xavier kills him. His training comes back immediately. Even injured, he is still dangerous. The children help hide the corpse, and they stitch Xavier's wound. The next morning, they are gone. They take his supplies and leave behind only a photo of Presley and James and a note of apology. This is not betrayal. It is survival. The kids choose movement over attachment. Xavier represents safety, but also risk. They can't afford emotional ties. This mirrors Annie's decision in episode 1. In this world, connection is dangerous. The episode ends with Annie rescuing Xavier and taking him back to Graceland. She treats his wounds properly. She listens to his story, but she also handcuffs him. This moment shifts the power balance. For a whole season, we followed Xavier and trusted him. But now, we see him from Annie's perspective. He is a stranger. He talks about an underground facility in Colorado and talks about a wife in Atlanta. Annie is pregnant. She believes the father of her child is heading toward that same bunker. So from her point of view, going to a safe bunker in Colorado is urgent. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.